Most Americans watch their local nightly news, so how much do they know about our local government?
Let's go find out.
Okay, so what news station do you watch and how often?
I watch Fox and about once a day.
Who is the leader in North Korea and what did he recently do?
Kim Jong-un, and he declared the state of armistice between North and South over.
What do you know about the events in Benghazi?
A terror group attacked our consulate there and killed our ambassador. We are still investigating as to see whose fault it is.
And lastly, locally, who were the last 5 original mayoral candidates in the past election?
No idea.
What news station do you watch and how often?
I don't really watch the news. Or NBC, I guess, maybe like once a week.
Who's the leader in North Korea and what did he recently do?
Kim Jong-un, and he said he was going to launch a nuke and raised it up but didn't launch it.
What do you know about the events in Benghazi that occurred in September?
Okay, who was our current LA mayor?
I don't know.
Okay, so then you wouldn't know anything that he's done. No? Okay, do you know who the original 5 mayoral candidates were in the past election?
Nope.
Okay,
Thank you.
No problem.
Have they impacted our democracy? Well, you know, they have so much time to fill, and I think in a way they have, because what you're seeing now is I think people choose to watch MSNBC or Fox because they happen to agree with the point of view that they think either of those cable channels represent, and they want to hear their views validated. I think that's one of the reasons to watch. If you agree with that side, you want to see your views backed up by whatever information they have. So actually, I do think it's been a negative impact on democracy, because instead of kind of a straight down the middle balanced approach, fair and balanced it isn't really, people aren't watching to get the information. They already have the opinion and they want it to be backed up by what they're seeing. So it doesn't change their minds. They're not going into watching news with the attitude of, well, let's see what happened. Let me make a judgment. Let me look at something where it's going to be even-handed and I'm going to be able to figure out what my opinion should be. No, they're starting out with what their opinion is and they want to see it validated.
In a democracy, I think that news programs, news reporters should simply inform the democracy, give them the facts and allow those facts to allow those people to make decisions that will then keep our democracy wonderful and flowing.
I think there's a definite bias in the way news is reported. You know, it's not always necessarily in terms of the content that's reported in the news, but also in the topics they choose to cover. Sometimes, you know, we feel that they're not doing a great job, you know, the reporters in the media, although they feel like respectively to the companies they work for or to other media outlets, you know, they think they're doing a good job. But as people who want to be informed on the situations going on, whether it be national or international crises, you know, we kind of want more unbiased news and stuff that we can rely on more.
An example of the media's sort of failure to fill us in on the entire story is the Benghazi scandal, which has been a closely kind of monitored story because not very much information was given. The consulate had requested the administration send more security to the compound, but the requests were ignored even though there was an obvious threat posed. And Charles Cotherman, who's a syndicated columnist, argued that this is a journalistic scandal. I mean, the fact that there's not a word about any of this in the New York Times or Washington Post today sort of shows that journalism has an ability to skew public perception of like current affairs.
I think this clearly shows that journalists try and filter what news the public gets, and this is sometimes shown in situations like North Korea where they're constantly in the news, and you know they're not directly affecting us, but you know sometimes they have implications, and it's just not always news that we always want to hear about, but it's just something that we like hearing about the big news that's not in the U.S. And I think it's all just kind of misconstrued how the public, wants the information that's affecting us, and we want the right information, but we can't seem to get unbiased information on what we want.
A cornerstone of democracy is having an informed public that can make choices based on sort of knowing the entirety of the situation. And the current state of our media is really compromising that, because the public is sort of hearing these very polarized viewpoints and not really getting, it's more now for shock value than it is for actually informative purposes. So what our group proposes, the solution is to try to get as much information as possible, kind of embrace the plurality, get as many viewpoints as you can, try to fact check, and by doing that, by seeing all these things, hopefully you can see past the bias and make informed decisions.